Hey there guys, gals, and non-binary pals, it's DMG and welcome back to Blitz, and today we are going to have a few sub-replays, this time in German heavy tanks, namely the cats of the German line. This one, while not a cat, is a baby tiger. This is the Tier 6 German heavy tank leading to the E100. It is the VK3601H. Now the VK has a very, very good gun, but we'll get more into that later. This is Amoract IS-3 playing on Middleburg and going town, I might add. Not so sure about this move, but he's going to show us today that the VK has two different gun options. A standard 88mm, which you will find on the Kuromori Mine and the Tiger 1. It also has the 75mm WoT, which is also available on the VK2801, that Tier 6 German light tank. And that's what Amoract IS-3 is going to be using today. Now, while it doesn't have the alpha that the 88mm has, it has an extremely high rate of fire, and its shell velocity matches that of the VK2801, or near that. The gun handling is noticeably better, and its gun depression is 8 degrees, although you do get that 8 degrees with the 88mm. Now, the VK does have a very interesting armor profile as well, as it has dead zones on the tank, and you don't really see a lot of this in the game. However, the VK has dead zones. Now, what are dead zones? They're areas that look gray, but just whenever you shoot them, they don't pen for whatever reason. It's very odd. I'm not sure if that's a glitch or that's by design, or whether that's something with the armor model that I just simply don't understand. But regardless, I feel like I've shot this tank lots of times before, and shells that I thought that have penetrated actually do not end up going through. Despite the tank commander's cheerful voice that one went right through, it is not the case. As you can see, the VK doesn't have the strongest armor profile at face value, but those dead zones are really coming into play here as he is bouncing shells from various angles, and he's now able to go right into this M4 over here and take him right out the game. That high rate of fire really doing well in this moment. Goes right up and gets a bounce and splashes HE from the bathtub and is now able to take him right out of the game. On sub replays, just in general, I thought I'd just take a few more notes on this for you guys. There's a lot of great replays coming in. Don't get me wrong. You know, it's not like people are sending their second class mastery games and stuff like that. I think I've only had that once, and you know, I may use a small bite of that at the end of a video or something like that if I have the time or feel like doing that. But you guys have been doing a good job of sending in the results screen along with the replay, so thank you for listening to my announcement on that. I really do appreciate that. But I'm trying to fit the tanks into a theme, and I know that it may be a little bit difficult to sometimes include all the replays. And keep in mind that I'm choosing from the cream of the crop. Like, people are sending in master replays, and then I have to choose from master replays to feature. So that's like the top 50% of the top 1%, right? Very difficult. But more on that a little later. This is Chariot Solace playing in the Tier 7 German heavy tank, the iconic Tiger 1. This is a heavium by its definition, essentially. And you're going to see that right out the gate as Chariot takes the Tiger 1, going right to the corner of Port Bay, and is able to keep up with medium tanks due to the Tiger 1's fantastic mobility for a heavy tank, and quite healthy hit point pool will allow Chariot to do great work against medium tanks in this location. Now, the Tiger has 7 degrees of gun depression with an extremely fast-firing 88mm. Now, this was recently buffed, but then got nerfed back just a touch due to its over-tuning along with the Tiger P. Now, on the Port Bay map, this corner, as I've said before, is the most important area, and 7 degrees of gun depression will be enough for Chariot to do good work here against the T-71 in this location. That Comet, decently strong mantlet. It's really got nothing on a Tiger 1. You know, the Tiger 1 just simply has more HP. And while the Comet does have the DPM over the Tiger 1, it is not enough to just burn it down because the Tiger 1's HP and mobility can easily keep up. And the Tiger 1 doesn't have the best of armor profiles. It has one of those threshold armor profiles where it's really good against same tier medium tank guns like the Comets, but really pales in comparison when you get looked at by an IS-3 or even, I would say, like a T-44's gun, right? That has 175 millimeters of pen on its standard rounds. And like I said, it's just one of those tanks where you either can really bounce shells or you really can't. There is no gray area where you can kind of set up for your side scrapes and kind of angle it out and stuff like that. Granted, angling is the best thing you can do in this tank, but you know, I'm sure you understand what I mean when I say it has a threshold armor profile in that regard. Tiger 1, accurate gun. That 88mm is absolutely devastating to lower tier medium tanks as he's able to put in round after round on that jumbo, aiming right for the cupola, missing one shot, and then hitting another one just to get the kill. Great stuff there. Now, the Tiger 1 has absolutely fantastic DPM, one of the best in its tier, or if not the best in its tier, for Tier 7 Heavy. Now, this is what you want to be driving for Tier 7 Heavy, even over the Lupus, I'd say. You know, you just have that DPM, that mobility, your traverse is great, and while your gun depression is not 12 degrees like the Lupus, you have a mid-mount turret, which means poking is a little bit easier, and you just have the mobility to really use your DPM, where unlike the Lupus, you just have a weak spot right on your turret. Your lower plate is a bit big and weak, and your gun elevation is just absolutely horrendous. God forbid an enemy get above you. And while gun depression, I would say, is definitely more of a prioritized stat, having gun elevation does come in not lots of handy, that's what I was about to say, does come in very handy at some points in the game when trying to get flexible shots off on your enemies. Now, Chariot is doing a very good job in this situation, just holding true, not putting too much pressure on the enemy. You don't want to YOLO in these moments where it's an even game and there's tank destroyers sitting around the corner. You don't want to be the one that takes the first volley of damage is what I'm essentially trying to say. If you can essentially rotate your tank around to give the first volley, then good, do it. But if you have to run into enemy fire, unless it's a situation where you're forced to bleed HP, I wouldn't really go for that option. And Chariot's doing a good job of tactically using his vehicle to push around again and get a different angle on the enemy. Now he's going to go up into this bush here, up through this little hill, see if he can get some spots off, and we'll see what he sees. Not seeing anything right now, so he's going to continue pushing around. Oh, and then someone gets spotted on the map. He gets spotted as well. Needs to pull back just in case if he comes around the corner. Tiger, 7 degrees of gun depression. What does that allow you to do? It allows you to get shots off that normally I would say most Russian tanks would not. Now take the IS, for instance, which has, I believe, 5 degrees of gun depression. Sure, it has a bulky 122 robust kind of cannon, but you don't have that surgical kind of ability with the IS. You have to really get up in their face to use the armor profile, and your gun depression is quite poor. Overall, I think the Tiger 1 is better just simply because it has a healthier hit point pool, and the gun is just fantastic. And while your alpha isn't as good, meaning that you're not as good in the trade, if you are skilled enough to put in 2 shots for every 1 shot, you will be doing more damage than an IS would do in a trading situation. That SU-100 gets hit on the head right there. The SU-100, it's the 100Y, excuse me, that Tier 6 premium Russian tank destroyer, box tank. Is my pronunciation right on that one? Anyways, puts in a great shot on the move there. I don't know how he hits that, and that's where gun depression, just having that flexibility in your angles, is very important. I'm not really sure if the IS Tier 7 would have been able to hit that. I also don't think a vertical stabilizer is being used here in this moment, as he is missing a few shots that should be going in, but the Tiger's rate of fire is more than capable to keep up with missed shots. Now he's just going to put in shots against the enemies in that area, and he's just going to keep whittling them down. I mean, the HP on this tank is ridiculous. Now, if you're going to run equipment, I'd definitely say buff out the HP on this tank, whereas on the Tiger P, I'd say go for the armor. But if you can just keep buffing up the HP, it allows you to absorb hits, and in the occasion that you do bounce one, it retains your high hit point pool and allows you to spend it at the end of the game, which is what Chariot is doing here. And the fast mobility of the Tiger allows him to pull back, unlike that IS, and allows him to pull forward again and put a shot into the IS for the kill. Great stuff there. Misses another shot there. Kind of chancy, to be honest with you, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so good stuff there. As I was saying, back to the replays in general. It's not that I don't like you, if I don't feature your replay. It's just that, like I said, I'm choosing from the top 50% or even like the top 25% of replays of the top 1% of games played, or at least considered by wargaming, right? And best is a very variable term, right? Sometimes it's not all about damage. Now, there are some great, fantastic games and good stuff there to Chariot for getting like a 3.8k game on Port Bay. I believe they won that game because he took the corner and was able to win that area. So I think that really shows, again, what's going on. And you'll have the pleasure of watching him again right now in the Tiger P on Oasis Palms. Now, he will be going to the heavy lane, something that I don't necessarily agree with, but you're going to see what he does here, and it's actually pretty fantastic. Back to replays. I keep going off tangent, or I keep going on a tangent, right? But best is variable, right? Now, there are some fantastic replays that I will showcase that do not have a lot of damage. Like, there is one, I believe it's an E75 replay. I forget who sent it in, but it's under a 3,000 damage, and it's really going to show the value of spotting. There's a Leopard Mastery, the Tier 5, and it's going to show less than 1,000 damage. I don't want to spoil too much, but you're going to see the value of other ways you can work for your team, because a lot of people just think damage, 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 damage. We all get into this rut that thinking damage is the sole defining factor of how good a player is. And while I agree it is I would say it is one of the more primary factors in determining the skill of a player, it is not the be-all, end-all. I think a holistic approach. So if you can do, I would say tier for tier, or I would just say tier 10 if you can do like maybe 500 damage less, but still end up 3K'ing the tank. And have a spot rate that is twice that of the player with the highest average damage, I'd personally value you more because you're just more versatile. But that's just my opinion. I know there's lots of varying opinions on how to rate the importance of each statistic, but like I said, best is a very variable term. So, like I said, expect some very interesting replays in the future. I am trying to feature them all. I know some of you are concerned about not getting your replays featured. However, I will be able to feature them as my IT guy on my Discord server has been helping me out and has given me access or the ability to watch older replays. So don't worry, I will be able to get to them all. That being said, if you guys keep flooding my inbox with new ones, I may not be able to get to them all, right? So anyways, like I said, but on that note, I want you to send me replays, but at the same time, the more you send me, the more cluttered it is and the more I have to keep track. So just keep aware of that kind of balance that you should be keeping. So if you have a great replay, send it in. But if it's, I would say, I don't want to call it an average mastery, because I hate saying that because it's top 1% in the game. But if you have an average mastery, you may want to hold off. I mean, if it's something spectacular, send it in, or something very odd and spectacular, send it in. But if it's just your average mastery, I wouldn't. I don't want to discourage you, but that's just my thought, because like I said, I'm choosing the top 1% of the top, or excuse me, the top 25% of the top 1%. Anyways, I'm done ranting. Chariot's doing a great job in the Tiger P, absolutely bullying this KV3 in this moment, and is angling perfectly to the SU-152, just simply pointing the front straight onto him, because that's how the Tiger P works. And takes him right out of the game. Now this KV-3 is in for an absolute whopping. No amount of angling can save you from the Tiger P's accurate gun and extremely high penetration gun. It's amazing how 0 to hero this tank has gone in the past few updates, as the Tiger P really was the laughingstock of Tier 7 Heavy, and that has now become one of the most feared beasts in the tier. KV-3 is not looking too healthy now. He's going to put in another shot. However, his teammate takes him right out of the game, and now Chariot is into the final tank. Tiger P has decent mobility now. It's not horribly slow, but it is no Tiger 1. It's still definitively in the heavy tank area for mobility, but for the amount of armor it has, I would say it is pretty decent. So even though it got nerfed, I would still consider picking one of these tanks up if you enjoy frontally sitting out in front of your enemies and just having them bounce off you. However, if that is not your fancy and you prefer higher mobility, I would say that this is not the tank for you. I would say more the Tiger 1 is more your speed, but feel free to watch back and forth between those games. Good stuff there by Chariot for a 4,400 damage game in a Tier 7 tank. That would easily be a mastery in any Tier 8 heavy, except maybe a select few. That's very variable as well. Anyways, this is True Bot playing in the Tiger P as well, and we are going to see an absolutely fantastic game here. Something that I try to do with my commentary is I try to make it exciting for you all. I know Bushka likes to commentate. I try to commentate like a football commentator. Soccer for all you Americans out there, right? I do hope to commentate a Twister one day, so in the event there is any discussion on nominating a commentator, please mention me. I would love to commentate some kind of tournament, and I hope that my commentary and meta insight is exciting or fun for you to listen to. TrueBot fires a blind shot through the bush, hoping to get a shot off or damage across, and we'll see if that comes through later. Anyways, he's going to be right into the heavy lane and will be bullying other tanks. Now, the Tiger P's armor profile is quite fantastic, and you will see this right here as he puts into the shot into the turret of the Nomad, and the Nomad has a lot of trouble petting him back. The only weak spot on the Tiger P is the cupola, and it is extremely hard to hit when you are moving, even though it is quite tall, and especially if you're the average player trying to pen that cupola, you may not even know that it is a weak spot. So TrueBot's armor profile is extremely exaggerated in this manner, and he's able to hold a whole flank almost by himself, but not without the help of a KV-2 and I think it's a tank destroyer. But anyways, bounces off the front plate, and it's just going to continue putting in shots here. And the Tiger's high rate of fire, or the Tiger P in this case, the high rate of fire of this gun allows you to simply just pick apart your enemies. He takes a shot there, not too crazy about that move, but now he is in a good position to do damage. However, he shouldn't be turning aside like that. That's not exactly the best move. He's taken 2 shots pretty much for nothing here. Not a great move. But now that T-23E3 Nomad is not looking very healthy, that he doesn't have any turret, puts a shot right through. Great stuff there, and now he will be into another tank soon enough. I believe this is the Tiger. Tiger on Tiger action. Now, mobility versus armor. Well, if the Tiger's not using its mobility, it's not all that great in this moment. As you can see, the armor profile is quite weak for a gun that shoots at what? I believe it's 207 millimeters of penetration on standard? I don't really remember. But regardless, Tiger 1 can't really do anything in these kind of close range engagements to the Tiger P. Should be firing premium ammunition to get through the front, or should be going for the cupola with standard AP. However, the Tiger is not doing any of those things. However, does take out his teammate. It is now a 1-on-5 turned into a 1-on-4. The team has melted, if you haven't noticed, and TrueBot is now going to go right into the T-34-85, tries to get around the corner using the terrain just to try and isolate this guy, and the Tiger's high rate of fire will be putting shots into the T-34-85, taking him right out of the game. SU's coming around the corner, right into the back of him, fires HE, and tries to aim for a engine deck shot, and doesn't get a good roll there. Unfortunate for the SU-100, but very fortunate for our hero today, and he will be continuing to put in shots. The front armor is now turned to the enemy, and you will see bouncing after bouncing. Jesus, my English is horrible sometimes, right? Anyways, Now the Jackson and the AT-8, you need to put in shots across. Those high penetration guns from the Jackson need to be quelled, and the AT-8 is trying to put in shots as well. Can't let any of these guns get your side, as they will just simply tear you apart. Doing a good job of keeping his front in front and just face hugging and keeping the AT-8 at bay. Doing great work here. Turning it into a one-on-one after taking out the SU and the Jackson, and the Tiger P does have enough mobility to get right around the AT-8. Really sad story for this tank right here in terms of the AT-8. Not great, and now putting in shots into the cupola of the AT-8 and is able to absolutely wreck him. The AT-8 does not have the gun arc to shoot the Tiger P in the side, and it looks like it is GG no re. And the final shot coming here. Will he get the shot? AT-8 starts backing up. Surely this is the one. Nope, does not high roll in this moment. Oh, AT-8 looks like he's going to get it. He aims. One easy. Good. Perfect shot there for another fantastic game. If you enjoyed that content, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. And if you didn't, please leave your constructive criticism in the comment section. As always, I appreciate the opportunity to share my passion with you today, and I hope to see you next time.